as much as you want for the next 60 days without paying any fees whatsoever. Sounds incredible? It is, and it's true. BuySellMakeOffer.com is the new exciting way to sell your stuff online. Make extra money right now. Sell your old car, furniture, video games, household items, clothes, even your home. Sell anything that's legal. Load up your stuff to sell right now at BuySellMakeOffer.com. This is your official invitation to get on board to sell your stuff right now. Free for the next 60 days. And once you see how easy it is, you'll want to sign up for more because there are no item fees. That's right. Take this opportunity to move items from the other guys and sell it for free. You might even win a Samsung tablet, Amazon gift cards, and other cool prizes. BuySellMakeOffer.com is the future of online selling. You can use Skype to talk to your buyer or seller. Plus, you can use video to showcase your items. BuySellMakeOffer.com.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Tom Ladd. For this afternoon, you can expect cloudy conditions through mid-morning, then clearing up with the high near 75, a light southwesterly wind becoming 5 to 10, patchy drizzle after 11 p.m. tonight, increasing clouds with low around 59, patchy drizzle before 11 a.m. Friday, cloudy through mid-morning, then clearing up with the high near 82, and Friday night, patchy fog after 11 p.m., otherwise cloudy and a low around 60. That's your weather forecast for this hour from the station that leaves no listener behind. NBC News Radio, AM 1050 KCAA.
Here's a look at the KCAA community calendar. You can win tickets to the Junior University Musical Theater presentation of The Jungle Book. Just listen to KCAA all day long and get ready to win. Are you looking for adventurous entertainment for the whole family? Then join Junior University for a musical theater experience that is unmatched under the stars at Roosevelt Bowl in Paris Hill Park. This year, it's Mugwai and the Adventures in the Heart of the Jungle as Junior University presents William R. Dixon's adaptation of The Jungle Book. Show dates are July 17th through August 1st. Starting time is 8:15 p.m. General admission is just $10 for adults, and children 12 years old and younger are just $5. Two parents and all their children under 18 years can purchase a family ticket at the box office for just $25, and you can save 20% on a family ticket if you print it out at home by going to junioruniversity.org. Listen to KCAA and win tickets to The Jungle Book. And that's a look at the KCAA community calendar. I'm Mark Westwood.
KCAA, where every day is a great day. KCAA, Loma Linda.
Welcome to Smart Health Talk with your host, Elaine McFadden.
Take a walk on the wild side. Will the birds and the bees survive? Right before me, my newfound hippie side. Once ignored these conspiracies online. Out the window, visions of the earth. Sign me up now, make sure you use your smart. Take a walk on the wild side. Will the birds and the bees survive? Would your children like to see Mother Nature?
Smart Health Talk radio show right here on hopefully your favorite radio station, KCAA 1050 AM. And I'm Elaine McFadden. I'm your host. I am a registered dietitian with a master's in public health and a passion for good food, the best food, high quality food in people's bodies. And that's because as a dietitian, I want to heal with food. And I tell you, the food that's being pumped out nowadays is not going to heal you. And instead, it could actually do the opposite. And so that's why we have this show. You're not getting the full information on mainstream media. And hopefully that's one of the reasons why you're tuning in right here to KCAA 1050 AM, because you want to find out what you don't hear on regular television. You want to find out the truth, kind of like behind the scenes kind of stuff that's going on, but people aren't telling you. But we got it right here on Smart Health Talk, boy. We get into it. We get down into the down and dirty. Yeah, it's not fun to talk about all the time, but we don't care because your health and your family are more important than anything. And I'm willing to stand up here and have to deliver bad news. And okay, maybe it doesn't make me the most popular person, and I'm not all fun and games all the time because of it, but I don't care. I don't care because I want to make sure that you have the truth and that you can make good decisions for your family based on the truth. And that's what we give you here because I don't mess around. I mean, I get down. I do some digging. I do like the real journalism stuff, not like what you see like these journalism reporters nowadays. It seems like they're just like saying whatever. They don't even like go and check it and make sure it's the truth or not. They just can't wait to scoop everybody. Well, I got a scoop for you. That is, I'm working on bringing some people together on this issue. And if you are familiar with GMOs, which I hope you are, and if you're not, would you please look it up and read about it? Because this is something everybody should know about. It's in your food. You're eating it every friggin' day. If you're not eating a full organic diet, I guarantee you're eating GMOs. And you should know what they are because they're going in your body and they are directly impacting your health and your risk of disease in the future. So, hey, I don't know about you, but I want to pad the odds in my favor of not getting disease. And I think most people kind of feel the same way. They kind of like living and want to stick around and don't like being sick and crippled and all that kind of stuff that can happen when you have a stroke. It can be a really devastating event. And the thing is, these diseases that are our top killers are preventable. You don't have to get them. You don't even when you get them, you don't have to keep them. You don't have to keep being with the disease. It's not that you're going to cure yourself, but you're definitely going to reverse some of the symptoms. Like with diabetes, hey, if you can get off the insulin, and if you type, not so much type 1 diabetics, but type 2 diabetics, you can improve a lot by just exercise and starting to eat the kind of things that Elaine McFadden, your personal dietitian, right here will tell you is the best choices. And you can find a lot of that on our website, especially if you click Expo West. I've got some great organic companies there. I taste tested their products, and before they get on my list, they got to pass my inspection for quality and taste. Because if I don't like it, because I like most anything, and if I don't like it, and trust me, there were things I didn't like. So I have tasted products I didn't like. I'm like, no way is the average person out there, especially one that's transitioning to healthier choices, they're not going to go for this one. But I have found so many great things. Oh my gosh, it's like a new experience. I tell you, some of the flavors that you experience when you try some of these organic products will take you over the moon with flavor. You'll be like, whoa, food can taste like that? I'm telling you, it is not only exciting, but it is fun. And, it's just like getting to go on a new adventure every day, trying some of these foods because you're being gypped, people. I'm telling you, you're being gypped big time. You think you're eating good food? That is so far from the truth. So far, because these the foods that you're eating, let me tell you, they do not contain the really true flavor of food, especially when it's grown in the best possible soil, without pesticides, without GMOs. So we have a lot happening on our show today, and just think about this. Picture this, okay? You're sitting in your home. You're got your family all there, and you're watching television. And all of a sudden you look out your window and you see a truck going down your street with a fog coming out the back of it, and then you realize that fog is pesticide. And that truck is driving down your street, spraying pesticide right there, where you were forced to breathe this pesticide. You have absolutely no choice, all in the name of controlling mosquitoes. Like, that is our only option. And I just want to tell you, it's not. We have so many other alternatives to. These are some of the most toxic pesticides that we could be exposed to. Babies, pregnant women, our children, the people we love, our animals, our plants, our vegetables that are in our garden. Everything is being exposed with a coating of this pesticide. And this is happening in cities all across the country. And the reason it's happening is because people are not standing up and saying that we will not allow this. Wait a minute. Yes, there is. There are people that are standing up to this. And we actually have a group that is doing that on the show today. And I am so proud of them and so thrilled to have this group because, taking on this issue is not an easy thing. And these are our true heroes. I'm telling you, these are the heroes. These people are out there willing to go through all this because they know that they're helping to protect families and they're helping to protect our health, and they know it's not right. And I just want to, I'm really excited to hear about the lawsuit that they filed against having their neighborhoods sprayed with pesticide. And so we are going to have them on our show today, and you're going to get to hear their story and what motivated them to take action on this lawsuit. What did they learn that made them say, you know what? We can't just stand by and let this keep happening. Our families are at risk, and we have got to take action, and we have got to take action now. And we can all learn from these groups because this is something that is happening all over. It's happening to your children. It's happening to children in other states. And even in Hawaii, it's happening big time. And we have Nomi Carmona. She is actually a local from right here in the Inland Empire. And she is from Colton. We're right here in San Bernardino. That's where Kcaa is located. And she has actually been living in Hawaii and going over there. And she joined a group. Well, she started a group. She's the president. Babes Against Biotech. That's right. You heard right. Babes Against Biotech. And I tell you, these are some sensational babes. Not only Nomi, but the other people in her group, because they have worked very hard on policy and legislation to protect their families, their land, children. I mean, we have had the California Teachers Association vice president on our show talking about how in their area over there in Salinas, where you may have heard of the Cesar Chavez Library, they have like 7 schools that are directly across the street from a strawberry field where they spray methyl bromide, which we know causes cancer, in hazmat suits, directly across the street from a playground for an elementary school. And right here in San Bernardino, we have 5 elementary schools that are exposed to the same thing. So I want to change that myself. And I tell you, I am very adamant that I don't want anyone with a truck fogging pesticide in my neighborhood. And just the fact that I have neighbors that I see spraying Roundup, I find very upsetting because we don't have to do that. We had a guest on our show, Esther Foster, from Organic Living Magazine, and she said that in Santa Barbara they passed an ordinance where if you were going to spray around your house, you had to post a sign in your yard and you had to go knock on the door of all your neighbors and tell them. So I think that that is a good policy because I have a right to know if my neighbor is spraying pesticide because I am also affected. It is not stopping at the property line of my house and not drifting into my yard and into my airspace that I am breathing, that's going into my lungs and into my body. And, we have evidence. The World Health Organization just came out with proof that Roundup it's looking like it causes cancer. And if you go to our homepage, smarthealthtalk.com, and scroll down looking for the rats with giant tumors on them, that is the French study that was done. That was a 2-year study. And I don't know if you realize this, but it's actually illegal to study Monsanto's pesticides. Like, if you want to do a study and find out, does this cause cancer or not, it's illegal. And if you go try and ask Monsanto, can I do a research study on your product? They will tell you every single time, no. And so I just want to, I want you to realize that you're not getting the full information here. And we have people right now, the peer.org, please go check them out. They are actually suing the FDA right now for not allowing scientists to tell us the truth. And there was an FDA employee that actually witnessed massive millions of bees dying that became a whistleblower to the peer group because he was so upset on what he saw. And all of this happened right after they sprayed. There is no doubt there is a direct connection between these pesticides and killing off massive amounts of bees. Now, I say that because I want you to see the correlation there. If we spray these pesticides and it kills millions of bees, isn't that kind of like the canary in the mine kind of a thing? I mean, isn't that telling us, it's causing us damage too? I mean, what more proof do we need? To me, that right there tells it all. Now, if the whole idea of some of our most toxic pesticides being sprayed on your neighborhood street in front of your house without your permission upsets you, then I hope you're going to stay tuned for the rest of this show. And if you're interested in what's going on in Hawaii, which is like Monsanto Central, that's where they do all the research for their pesticides and GMOs. It's like one of the biggest research centers of all. Hawaii has been pretty much kidnapped by Monsanto, and the Hawaiians are being forced to also being exposed to these pesticides that we're talking about on a regular basis. And not just those, but experimental pesticides. I mean, ones that we don't even know, are they good or are they bad? They're directly across the street from schools in Hawaii. So, I'm just hoping that you're hearing this and you're getting fired up and you're getting mad, because that's what it's going to take to change this. It is not right that we're poisoning our children. We are setting them up for who knows what kind of diseases later on in life. What kind of system is that? We fight for our children so many other ways. This is a way. This is like so important. Why are we not screaming at the top of our lungs? This is not right. Okay, well, you're not convinced? Well, I'm hoping you're going to stay tuned and that our guests that we have here today are going to give you reasons for you to start using that voice and start standing up to this kind of treatment where our kids are being exposed to these toxic pesticides in the middle of the day, in the playground, directly across the street from guys wearing hazmat suits. Just think about it. Okay, I want to introduce both of our guests that we have here today. Well, I'm going to let them introduce themselves because I feel like they're going to do a lot better job than me right now because we just met. But I wanted to get them on the air because this is happening right now. In the next few days, the spraying's going to be happening. And this group actually challenged this in court last year. And I want to hear what happened. I want to hear their story. So I want to welcome to Smart Health Talk. Are you there, Brandy?
Yes, I'm here, and Sheriel Jensen is also on the phone.
Okay, can you tell us your full name, Brandy, and like what the name of your organization and what position each of you have at the organization?
Great. I'll let Sheriel Jensen do most of the talking, but our group is called Healthy Alternatives to Pesticides. And Sheriel, are you there?
I'm here. I don't know if I'm connected.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yes, we organized to stop the spraying, the fogging of pesticides throughout our neighborhoods. Last year, there were 79 square miles pesticided with these fogging trucks that go around on all the streets of the neighborhood and spray pesticide fog out so high that it goes into people's backyards as well as their front yards. And they started at 11 o'clock at night, just at the time the bats come out. And, of course, the bats are your primary technique of getting rid of the mosquitoes.
Oh, really? And I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
that is so important. Oh, my gosh. Thanks for telling us that.
Just as the bats come out, so we don't have any idea what's happened to our bats. We don't know if they've been poisoned or what. I have 750 feet of creek, and it's almost all year, every year. And I have frogs. The little green frogs finally came back after the pesticide had killed them several years earlier. The little tiny frogs, about as big as your thumb, about as big as the end of your thumb. And they killed all those frogs. Several years earlier, they killed the dragonflies, which are also a primary predator of mosquitoes. We haven't seen a mosquito eater in several years because they killed those. So they're really actually making the environment pretty friendly for mosquitoes because they're killing off the predators.
Which is giving them a reason to keep spraying the pesticide. So,
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to go spray this pesticide because we got to like target this mosquito. But in the process of targeting this mosquito, you're saying that all these other predators to the mosquito that would help to keep control, that during the process of killing the mosquito, they're killing all of them off as well. And
we don't know that they're killing the mosquitoes because that's what's left.
Okay. So they've killed all the good guys, but they didn't kill the thing that they said they were going to kill. Okay.
Right. So we've seen mosquitoes and black flies, and we don't see all the predators that would normally have been there in the environment to keep all of those under control.
That is extremely upsetting.
They went along University Avenue, which is next to Vasona Reservoir, and all the fish in Vasona Reservoir had died. And the fish, of course, are your basic predator for mosquito larvae. So everything they're doing is counterproductive.
So do you tell them this? Do you tell them that? And then what's their response?
Well, we've gone to court with our lawsuit to try to stop what they're doing because it is so damaging to the environment. They don't have an environmental impact report. They claim they're exempt because this is an emergency. It is not an emergency, and you can't go 11 years. Now, this is the 11th year of this. You can't go 11 years with this same thing, this same claim, and pretend that's an emergency. That's an ongoing issue. And we have tried to get them to at least do an environmental impact report that is effective and tells what the issues are, but they will not do it. And, of course, they're violating state law. Our lawsuit claims that they are violating state law, and, of course, they are.
Maybe I could jump in at this point, Sheriel. This is Alexander Henson. I'm the attorney for Healthy Alternatives.
Well, welcome, Alexander. Thank you for calling in.
Yes.
Go ahead and jump in, Alexander.
I wanted to state that the basis for our lawsuit, which is currently pending before the 6th District Court of Appeals in San Jose, is based upon the two propositions that before this spraying should continue, they should examine the environmental impacts of releasing this pesticide upon a residential community. We know from reading the label on the poison, the pesticide, that if it is used according to its label, it is lethal to aquatic animals. So anybody who has a goldfish pond would be well advised to move the fish to a place where they will not be exposed to this chemical, if that's possible. And it's also lethal to not only bees, but a great variety of other insects that are beneficial to everyone's backyard and front yard, which will all be erased with this pesticide if it is as effective as they claim. The second basis
if it's effective as
of
they
our
claim.
lawsuit, besides asking for an environmental impact report, is that they also need a warrant. This is the invasion of private property by the government. And under the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution, as repeated in the California Constitution, there is a right and expectation of privacy and remaining undisturbed in one's own home that is being violated by this action. And we are requesting the court to require that a warrant be issued before they go on to private property with this pesticide. I would point out, they claim this pesticide is harmless. It's derived from the chrysanthemum plant. I would also point out that it's not harmless as evidenced by the label, and that certainly pregnant women and infants, mothers who are nursing, would be very well advised to, if they live in the area being sprayed, they should leave. Period.
I totally agree with you. So how do you fight something like this? They're supposed to spray in just a few days, right? And like, is there no way to stop this?
Well, the only way to stop it is, I'm glad you asked, there's two ways to stop it. Either through the court system, which we are doing or trying to do, so far unsuccessfully, and the other way is politically, through the political process. Now, in that regard, if the City Council of Palo Alto or the City Council of Mountain View were to take action on behalf of its residents and tell the Vector Control District not to spray, the Vector Control District would be required under law to not spray unless and if they appeal to the Department of Agriculture, the city's refusal. The Department of Agriculture, the Secretary of Agriculture, would decide whether they had to spray or not. The whole justification for spraying has a very weak underpinning. They claim they're spraying 1 mile area around whenever they find an infected mosquito. In point of fact, this type of mosquito has a range from its birth to its death of approximately a third of a mile at most. Now, occasionally with wind and such, they can go further. However, the district has arbitrarily adopted a 1 mile radius around an infected mosquito. So they spray a huge area. It's been a long time since I did the math for the circumference of the circle, but it's a considerable area that they...
what do they have to do?
3.4, is that right? Square miles that they spray.
What's required before they spray as far as like communicating to the people that are going to be exposed? I mean, do they are they required to contact them in any way whatsoever and warn them that this is going to be happening?
Well, yes and no. No, in the sense that the vector control agency, here's the key. See, the vector control agency would have the ability to go onto your private property without notice if there was a wild bear running across your property and they were trying to capture it. That is an emergency which would dispense with the usual search and seizure requirements. But in this case, we would say that notice isn't enough. But yes, obviously, I mean, notice at a minimum should be required. But the way the system is set up is in emergency, you don't need notice. Every other time, you don't just need notice, you need a warrant. You need a judge to examine the facts to determine whether the governmental intrusion on the people's private property is warranted.
Could someone sue after
sign or she sign a warrant allowing government agencies to do this? Now, the Superior Court in this case ruled that because the government agents don't actually themselves go onto the private property, therefore there is no search and seizure requirement triggered. We argued before that judge and are now arguing in the Court of Appeal that indeed just because, the whole program is designed so that the poison, the pesticide, goes onto the private property from the truck in the street, in the public street. And therefore that's the same as if the government itself were going onto private property. And indeed, the law of trespass provides that if I put a foreign substance on your property, I am trespassing. And so we are contending that the government is indeed doing that and needs a warrant to do it.
Well, if that happened to me...
Can I...
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Can I say a few things on Catherine Mathewson?
Yes, Catherine, go ahead.
And I'm the biologist for the group. And on that level, they do a very poor job letting people know. About half the people in the areas that they spray, they do get handouts. But they don't tell them to be careful and, like, close windows and keep your dogs and cats inside at night when they spray. And stay, and there are people who are very susceptible to pesticides, and the ones that know about it, they leave town, but the ones that don't get sick, and because they don't know about it. So that's another part of the problem. Also, they don't. If you are a block away, they don't tell people that are in the area they're spraying. For example, they'll spray on the streets for the colleges or the hospitals, but they don't let them know. So there are people that go into, our major hospitals that, at 11 o'clock at night or, into emergency in the middle of the night, and they're spraying, and they're sick.
Hey, so, how about the patients that go outside? I see patients go outside all the time.
Those are problems with not informing people what they do.
Can you not sue after the fact that you've been exposed? Can you not sue after the fact that you've been exposed? If I was pregnant and I had been exposed, the city had forced me to be exposed to something like that and did not tell me, I would want to sue for that.
Yeah, there are people that are pregnant that do not hear.
Well, not only that, but I can tell you as an attorney, after the fact and proving it is a classic problem of, in Latin, it's called post hoc ergo propter hoc. After the event, therefore because of the event. And it's very, very difficult to prove that if we're talking about serious issues of child health. And so, to prove where it came from is next to impossible at this stage of our medical knowledge. And so, and of course, if you have a problem child, that's little solace. So I think that this is, in public health terms, there's a huge trade-off between the few people who become ill from the West Nile virus versus all of the children who, either through lactating mothers or in utero, or even the school children walking to school in the morning after a spraying. I have been unable to find whether there's any time table that shows how much of the pesticide is lingering in the air 4 or 5 hours after the spraying. They say that they're using aerosols, which are very, very light, and the whole idea is they stay in the air. They claim that when this stuff lands, it's not as effective, and it is not effective in killing mosquitoes. Evidently, the way it works is they fly into a droplet and get it on their front sides, as it were, their chests, and it inhibits their nervous system. So these are dangers that people that the Vector Control District does not want to discuss.
I have a garden which I have lived in all my life. And so I can, as an ecologist and biologist, I can see the difference. And never in the history of this garden have I seen so many problems because the beneficials have been killed. And also, immediately, the next day after they spray, within a mile, my beehives die out 100%.
Really?
And
oh my
so, we talk about rat studies, on pesticides. Well, we're doing the bee studies here. And so what's happened is that we now have much fewer bees. The beekeepers, who it's their profession, are wondering. They wondered why, and now because of my certified wildlife habitat garden, I can actually say and prove it that it's happening.
So,
but that's one real clear change that we can actually say happened.
Well, yeah, and doesn't it prove that all of us are being exposed to something harmful? I mean, like I mentioned earlier, to me, that's almost like the canary in the mine, If the canary dies, that's a sign. And if the bee dies, isn't that also a sign that we're being exposed to something?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And the butterflies have reduced, and the birds are reduced also, but the bees are 100%. And the problem that happens is that then you can't get your beehives to get them back because the bees are just not available because there's much less. So this year, I have 18 fruit trees, and a half of the trees, I'd say a third of the trees, the early bloomers, did not produce any fruit. And then the middle bloomers produced very little. The late bloomers got a little more. But it's been the last 2 years it's been bad, but this year has been, the amount of fruit is hugely changed.
Well, again, these are all obvious signs that, there's these pesticides. What are they designed for? They're designed to kill. That's what they're doing. They're doing exactly what they were designed for. They're killing everything that they touch.
Well, and they're killing all the beneficials that keep the mosquitoes in control.
Well, they're
and one of the problems there is I've lived on this site all my life, and I see more mosquitoes now than I've ever seen in my life. So they're actually increasing.
This is a repeat of The Silent Spring by Rachel Carlson. The only thing that's changed is the chemical and the size of the nozzles on the truck. Instead of spewing DDT through large holes in the pumps and sprays, they have changed it to a chrysanthemum-based pesticide and made it an aerosol. But other than that, it does the same thing. It kills everything.
That's such an excellent point. That is such an excellent point, and that was so well said. I'm going to use that. I'm going to be repeating that to other people because that's exactly right.
The other thing that's important to know about this program is it's vector control. It's a statewide program. It's happening all over California.
Not just to you. It's
happening
not just
in
neighborhoods.
Santa Clara County.
Yeah, you could just you could just be sitting watching television, and all of a sudden you look out, and there's some truck coming down your street exposing you to pesticides.
True.
Right.
That's pretty much
without
what's happening
your permission,
here.
On your own private property, without a warrant.
And as you said, this is heavy-duty pesticide. This isn't like just some, and they say, oh, this is from a flower, and that is so misleading.
What they're spraying here is Zenivex, but, each county can try something different. And they have their different choices. One of the things that I found is we have posters that beware of West Nile virus. You could kill you. The ads also on television and radio. The ads are putting people in fear of the problem. So there's a lot of people that are so fearful already. They won't listen to the real issue.
Well, I want to know the city council. You said the city council can stop this. So I want to know, what are you guys doing to get people in front of that city council and have your voices heard and get them to take action?
Besides talking to you?
Besides talking to me.
So you go before the county supervisor. We're supposed to have control over them.
Is there any way to reach the people through the newspaper? Or?
Well, the problem is that you can't go to all the different city councils because they meet at the same time. So if you go to one city council meeting that's on Tuesday, you won't be able to go to the next city who's already also on Tuesday. So it's like chasing a phantom here. We have so many cities. We have 15 cities. And they keep overlapping. In some cities, they sprayed last year 5 times. In others, they have just sprayed once. But it's almost impossible to go to each city to try to deal with this.
Can you get a record of where they've sprayed? Is there a record of that?
Yes.
Yes.
We have record of what they're spraying. The problem with that is it carries the wind. And within an hour, if your wind is 10 miles an hour, it's 10 miles from where it was sprayed.
So all those people are being exposed?
Yes.
Yes, everybody.
And all their backyards and front yards.
The other thing about this pesticide is that 96% of it is undisclosed. So what they're spraying, we have no real idea. It could be any toxic thing.
The inert ingredients.
They could even
That's right.
DDT, but we don't have any way of knowing.
We actually had a guest on our show that's the editor of Organic Lifestyle Magazine. Organic, and I think it's Organic Lifestyle. But anyway, they said that those inert ingredients can even be like waste from nuclear power plants.
Yes, it could be anything.
It's a trade secret.
Oh, a trade secret. Oh, yeah, and I just can't believe they get away with that. And that's what they get away with in Hawaii, too, on experimental pesticides. They're spraying them across the street from schools. Experimental. And children are getting nosebleeds. They're passing out. The parents are besides themselves. They take them to the hospital, and the doctor can't even do anything because they don't even know what they've been exposed to. And if they try to get the information, Monsanto just claims what you just said, that they don't have to. And since it's experimental, that's even more reason they don't have to tell you. But they can expose you. I think they should make them go out in the desert in the middle of friggin' nowhere where there isn't a one single living soul for like, a few hundred miles radius around them. That's what I think.
The UC Ag in Davis did a study of school children and pregnant mothers in the area around Salinas, California, and which is an intensely agricultural area. And I believe that a lot of these women, their husbands or themselves, worked in the agricultural industry. And they found, taking from blood samples, that the children and mothers had pesticide levels far beyond and above those which were permissible, and
this is legal poisoning in my mind.
Be considered carcinogenic.
Isn't this like
my
people go to jail
school,
for that?
The parents tell me that this year there have been more absenteeisms in the high school than ever they have seen.
Really, and they're spraying that that Enlist Duo, which is the a form of Agent Orange, and
back to that advertising. It's important to know that this advertising has been being done by the pesticide companies and not by our government.
What do you mean advertising?
The billboards and the
we have
radio
huge mosquitoes riding around on the buses.
So they're creating this fear of the mosquitoes with billboards.
Creating the fear that is then letting the people do it.
Really? You know what I just heard on Facebook from the Organic Consumers Association, that Monsanto and these groups, the biotech companies, have stooped to calling parents and moms and dads and talking to them like they're pro GMO labeling, and getting their story and pretty much getting their personal information, and then taking that personal information and writing letters and giving them to legislators saying that they are against GMO labeling. But they get their information and create these letters, and they're giving the letters to legislators. So I mean, that to me, you can't even. People should not be talking and telling people that just call them on the phone. For one thing, and we need to be aware that these people are everywhere. I've just been reading articles today that are, I guess, newspapers are taking positions, and one newspaper came out and said that people were ignorant for being against GMOs. So they're just trying all these techniques to intimidate us into thinking that, we, like the billboards that you said, everything. They did the same thing up in Jackson County and up in Oregon when they tried to pass an ordinance where no GMOs to be grown in their county. And they tried to intimidate them. But you know what? They won in court, and I'm hoping you guys are going to win in court, too. I hope you get to kick their butts. That would be, so great.
Well, one other thing is our county supervisors have put in policy that an IPM program in 2003. And so the integrated pest management
where
program,
you use the good guys
that you
to get
use
the bad
natural
guys.
alternatives first. And then if that doesn't work, you can use pesticides, but not the reverse. And there's, I've given, I'm a pesticide advisor for the IPM program, and I've given the county supervisors and vector control 2 pages of alternatives for mosquito control. They refuse to use them. And unfortunately, our policy, our IPM policy, is not being followed.
Who do you blame for that? Who is the person that is failing to implement that program? Is it the head of the Department of Agriculture?
It's like pass the buck stuff. People just the county supervisors just listen to you, and then it's sort of the way our legislators are. Unfortunately, I think what happens is that the money from the pesticide companies and Monsanto, it goes straight to the people we elect, and we've got to get corporate money out of elections, and I think that's most probably the problem we have. They are in fear of not being reelected because the corporate money could take them out of office.
I understand. What were you? I'm sorry. What else did you have to say?
There's one more thing I'd like to say. There was a charge study, what's called the charge study, that investigated several thousand families with autistic children, and they found that those that had been exposed to pesticide in the last month of pregnancy to this pyrethroid class of pesticides had a 60% increase in the incidence of autism. And so that's what we're doing to our children here in this valley, is we're putting their brain power at risk. And their very lives, really, and the lives of their families.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I have said over and over on our show that these pesticides are the number one cause of birth defects. We have study after study validating that pesticides reduce the IQ in our children by 3% or more, at which, if you put that into dollars, what is at a loss for our country, all the creativity and intelligence that's being lost by exposing our children to this, it's just huge. It's just not even worth it. I can't even believe that we are allowed to legally poison people without their permission, pregnant women, exposing them to pesticides like this. I'm picturing getting, I called our Department of Agriculture county guy that we have here for San Bernardino, and after having this conversation with you guys, I am going to be giving him another call. I'm going to be asking for information if they're going to be spraying anywhere in our county, and I am going to try to organize some people to do a blocking of the street kind of a thing. I don't know what I'm doing actually, but I am going to try to get a committee together, because I tried talking to Loma Linda University Hospital, their landscape person, about their spraying pesticides, because I live right down the street from them. So I'm getting the drift, and I know they're using Roundup. And I have worked in that hospital as a dietitian, and I have seen the faces of those children in the oncology unit. And the thought of them going outside when they're fighting for their life with cancer and walking around the grounds of Loma Linda and being exposed to Roundup infuriates me to no end. And he even agreed with me that it was not right. But yet, when I tried to hook him up with someone that had experience in Santa Barbara with transitioning them away from pesticides in their parks and that, and help serve on that committee, he was not even interested in going there. So that just tells me the true attitude of these people.
Right.
May I add one comment? This is
go ahead.
In terms of your campaign, there was a recent quote by, of all people, Rand Paul, when he was talking about the National Security Administration invasion of our privacy. And his words really apply to what has happened with the West Nile virus. And his words were that fear...
We're getting close to the end.
Huh?
We're getting close to the end of the show, so go.
Yeah. Fear and complacency allow power to accumulate and liberty and privacy to suffer. That is what is happening with regard to the West Nile virus.
And it's affecting every single one of us. Every single one of us are having our rights violated. And I can't tell you guys enough. I applaud you. You're my heroes for all that you're doing. And I'm going to be following your story. And I wish you luck. And go get them. And we'll learn from each other. And we'll keep working together, okay? So
Well, we have more stuff up our sleeve. So
what's the name of your website again?
It's the Healthy Alternatives to Pesticides.
Healthy Alternatives to Pesticides, everyone. Go and check it out and get on the committee here. We're gonna make some changes, all right? And stay tuned to Smart Health Talk next Thursday.
Stop it in the state, not just our county.
This is KCAA Loma Linda, the station that leaves no listener behind. CNBC News is next, a courtesy of buysellmakeoffer.com, where you can post a video about items you have for sale. Sign up now. It's free.
CNBC. Have you had trouble with online dating? This is eHarmony founder Dr. Neil Clark Warren. We've created a new solution, EH Plus. EH Plus combines the personal attention of a matchmaker with eHarmony's extensive pool of great singles. EH Plus gives you hand-selected matches and freedom from being online. Get started today. Call 855-930-LOVE. That's 855-930-LOVE.
If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish and see what real value is. Call 877-249-6988. You can also save a bundle when you combine DishNet high-speed internet with your TV service. Call 877-249-6988. Programming starting as little as $29.99, plus access to thousands of movies and TV shows. Stream to your TV, smartphone, or tablet. Call 877-249-6988. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get Dish today.